First contact shock. High Commander Zextal of the Varaxian Imperial Scout Fleet stood motionless before the quantum display, his crystalline appendages trembling slightly as he processed the impossible data streaming before him. The pride of the Empire's stealth technology, ships that had successfully observed over 300 civilizations undetected, had just been compromised by a species that hadn't even achieved regular space travel. "Play it again," he commanded, his voice wavering despite centuries of military discipline. The holographic display flickered to life, showing Earth's orbit from 6 days ago. Their cloaked observation vessel, the Silent Whisper, had been maintaining position above the planet's northern hemisphere when it happened. A primitive radio transmission, originating from a facility in what the humans called Norway, had broadcast directly at their ship's location. Not in a sweeping pattern, not by chance, but with pinpoint accuracy. "Greetings, unidentified vessel. This is the SETI Norwegian Array. We detect your gravitational signature. Please respond." The message had been transmitted in 12 different mathematical sequences, each more elegant than the last. The humans hadn't just spotted them. They'd created an entirely new branch of physics to do so. High Commander, his science officer, Venra, approached with another data crystal. "You need to see this. The humans, they're discussing our drive system on their global information network." "Impossible. Our quantum shroud prevents any scanning of internal ship systems." But even as he spoke, Zextal knew humanity had already proven the impossible possible once today. The display shifted to show what the humans called internet forms and academic preprints. Crude diagrams, yet unnervingly accurate, depicted the basic principles of Varaxian fold space technology. Theories and counter-theories flew back and forth between their scientists at a pace that made Zextal's head spin. They weren't just discussing the technology. They were improving upon it. "How long have they been watching us?" Zextal demanded. "That's the most disturbing part, sir." Venra's crystalline form pulsed with anxiety. "They only began these discussions after detecting us 6 days ago. They're doing this in real time." Zextal felt his third heart stop momentarily. The Varaxians had taken 8 centuries to develop their current fold space drives. These humans were redesigning them over breakfast. "Sir," his communications officer interrupted, "we're receiving a transmission from Fleet Command. The humans, they're launching something." The quantum display shifted again, showing a small vessel departing from a private space facility in the desert region the humans called Texas. Its design was crude, almost laughably so, but the energy signature it emitted was unmistakable. "By the first crystal," Zextal whispered. "They built a working prototype already." The human vessel's drive signature was familiar yet foreign, like seeing one's reflection in a twisted mirror. They had taken the basic principles of Varaxian fold space technology and fundamentally altered them, creating something that by all rights shouldn't work. But it did. The small ship accelerated, its hybrid drive tearing open a hole in space-time that was simultaneously less stable and more efficient than anything in the Imperial fleet. "Orders, High Commander," his bridge crew asked in unison. Zextal stared at the display, watching as more human vessels began launching from other facilities across their planet. Each design was different, each drive signature unique, as if they were testing multiple theoretical approaches simultaneously. Their ships looked like they'd been cobbled together in primitive manufacturing facilities, which they had been. But they moved through space with the grace of natural-born void dancers. "Send word to the Imperial Palace," he finally said. "Tell them," he paused, choosing his words carefully. "Tell them we haven't discovered a pre-space flight civilization. We've discovered something much more significant and much more dangerous." The human vessels continued their dance through local space, each movement revealing new improvements to the technology it reverse-engineered by mere observation. They weren't just replicating Varaxian technology. They were reimagining it, pushing it to theoretical limits the Empire's scientists hadn't even considered possible. High Commander, Venera spoke again, her voice barely a whisper. They're broadcasting again. All frequencies, all languages they know. The message was simple, yet it sent shivers through Zextal's crystalline form. To our visitors, your cloaking technology is impressive, but your drive systems need work. We've made some improvements. Would you like to compare notes? Zextal watched as more human ships took flight, each one a testament to their species' impossible capabilities. In 6 days, they had accomplished what had taken his civilization thousands of years. And they had done it with technology that would be considered primitive by imperial standards, with resources that should have been insufficient, and with a casual confidence that bordered on the absurd. Send a response, he ordered, knowing this moment would change the course of galactic history. Tell them the Varaxian Empire would be honored to discuss technological exchange. And warn the Imperial Palace, the galaxy as we know it is about to change forever. As he watched the humans continue their improvised space ballet, testing drive configurations that Imperial scientists would have dismissed as impossible, Zextal couldn't help but wonder. Had they truly discovered this civilization, or had they simply wandered into the path of a force of nature that had been waiting for its moment to emerge? The answer, he suspected, would reshape the understanding of not just technology, but of what was possible in a universe that suddenly seemed far less predictable than it had just 6 days ago. The impossible engineers. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the holographic simulation floating above her lab bench, her coffee long forgotten and cold. Around her, the bustling quantum propulsion lab at MIT hummed with energy as dozens of the world's brightest minds worked to unravel the mysteries of alien technology they'd never even touched. It's the quantum field harmonics, she muttered, manipulating the simulation with practiced gestures. They're not just bending space. They're singing to it. Across the room, Dr. James Kumar looked up from his own workstation. Singing. That's a bit poetic for you, Sarah. No, look. She expanded her simulation, filling the center of the lab with a complex dance of quantum particles. The Varaxian drive doesn't force space-time to fold. It creates a resonance pattern that encourages space-time to fold itself. They're not builders, they're conductors. The revelation spread through the lab like wildfire. Within minutes, teams were recalibrating their models, viewing the alien technology not as a tool but as an instrument. It was exactly the paradigm shift they needed. Halfway across the world, in a repurposed warehouse in Bangalore, Arjun Patel's team was reaching similar conclusions through entirely different means. They'd been studying the gravitational wake patterns of the Varaxian vessels, treating them like waves in a cosmic ocean. It's all about harmony, Arjun explained to his international colleagues over a hastily arranged video conference. Their ships don't fight against space-time. They become part of its natural rhythm. But their approach is conservative, like they're afraid to really push the tempo. In orbit, aboard humanity's first experimental fold space vessel, Commander Helen Rodriguez couldn't help but smile as she received the latest updates from Earth's scattered think tanks. The ship around her, dubbed Prometheus, was already a technological marvel, a fusion of human intuition and reverse-engineered alien science. But these new insights promised to transform it from a crude prototype into something revolutionary. Begin implementation of protocol resonance, she ordered, watching as her crew, handpicked from space programs and research institutions worldwide, began uploading the new configurations. Let's show our visitors what happens when you let humanity improvise. The Varaxian observation fleet watched in mounting disbelief as the Prometheus's drive signature began to change. The humans weren't just modifying their technology. They were fundamentally reimagining it. Impossible, whispered Science Officer Venera, her crystalline form flickering with anxiety. They're treating quantum fields like musical instruments. The mathematical complexity required, the processing power needed to calculate. They're not calculating, High Commander Zextal realized, his voice filled with both awe and terror. They're intuiting. Their minds. They naturally think in the patterns we spent millennia learning to reproduce mechanically. The Prometheus's new drive configuration reached full power. Space-time didn't just fold around the ship, it danced with it. The vessel moved through the vacuum with an elegance that made the Varaxian ships look clumsy in comparison. Back on Earth, in laboratories and workshops across the globe, humanity's collective genius continued to surge forward. The great filter that had constrained so many other civilizations, the leap from understanding alien technology to improving upon it, wasn't just being bypassed, it was being shattered. "We're receiving new telemetry from Prometheus," announced Dr. Chen, her eyes wide as she processed the data. "The quantum resonance patterns are self-stabilizing. The drive isn't just more efficient, it's teaching itself to be better." Teaching itself. James leaned forward, frowning at the readings. "That's not possible. We didn't program any AI components into the system." "No," Sarah agreed, a slow smile spreading across her face. "But we did design it to respond to space-time's natural frequencies. Just like a good musician doesn't just play notes, they listen to how the music wants to be played." In his flagship, High Commander Zextol received an urgent message from the Imperial Palace. The Empire's best scientists had reviewed the humans' drive modifications. Their conclusion was unanimous and disturbing. Humanity wasn't just reverse engineering their technology. They were revealing principles that the Varaxians themselves had never discovered. "Sir," Venra approached, holding a data crystal that trembled in her grasp. "We've detected multiple new human vessels under construction. Each one incorporates different theoretical approaches to fold space technology. They're not trying to perfect a single solution. They're exploring every possible solution simultaneously." Zextol watched as the Prometheus executed another seemingly impossible maneuver, its drive singing in harmony with the cosmic strings of spacetime itself. The humans had taken the Varaxians' carefully crafted symphony of spacetime manipulation and transformed it into a jazz improvisation, wild, innovative, and breathtakingly effective. "Contact the Imperial Palace again," he ordered. "Tell them we need to accelerate our diplomatic timeline. The humans aren't just matching our technology, they're transcending it. If we don't establish formal relations soon, we may find ourselves becoming obsolete in our own galaxy." As if to emphasize his point, 3 more human vessels emerged from Earth's atmosphere, each utilizing a different variation of fold space technology. Their drives resonated with spacetime in ways that the Empire's scientists had deemed theoretically impossible. Yet there they were, rewriting the laws of physics through pure human intuition and determination. The impossible engineers of Earth weren't just changing the game. They were inventing entirely new ways to play it. And the galaxy would never be the same. Diplomatic chaos. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council hummed with nervous energy as representatives from over 300 spacefaring civilizations gathered for an emergency session. The massive crystalline chamber, usually a model of order and decorum, now buzzed with worried whispers and barely concealed panic. First Speaker Kalax of the Unified Systems stood at the central podium, their bioluminescent form pulsing with stress patterns as they addressed the assembly. "The situation is unprecedented. The humans have achieved in weeks what most civilizations require centuries to accomplish." Holoprojections filled the space above the gathered delegates, showing the rapidly evolving human fleet. Each vessel incorporated different theoretical approaches to fold space technology, some so radical that they defied conventional understanding of physics. "This is an outrage." The Mechanist Collective's representative, a towering assembly of quantum-linked processors, flashed angry patterns of red light. "The Varaxians have violated every protocol for first contact with pre-FTL civilizations. They must be sanctioned." High Commander Zextol stood firm despite the accusation, his crystalline form steady. "With respect, we maintained all protocols. Our vessels were fully cloaked. The humans detected us through means we still don't fully understand. And then," he paused, searching for the right words, They simply looked at our ships and understood how they worked. The chamber erupted in disbelief. A species simply observing advanced technology and comprehending it violated everything they knew about technological progression. It challenged the very foundations of their galactic civilization. Order. First Speaker Calax's voice resonated through the chamber. We must address the immediate concern. The humans are now launching fold space-capable vessels at an unprecedented rate. Each ship incorporates new innovations we barely understand. We must decide how to respond. In Earth orbit, aboard the diplomatic vessel Unity, Ambassador Elena Santos watched the Council proceedings through the live feed provided by the Varaxians. Her team of diplomats and scientists sat around her, each carefully noting the reactions of various alien factions. "They're afraid," Dr. Marcus Webb, the team's xenopsychologist, observed. "Not just of our technological progress, but of how we achieve it. We're not following their rules of development." Elena nodded, watching as another council member demanded containment protocols be implemented. They see technology as a ladder to be climbed one rung at a time. We're taking the elevator. A soft chime indicated an incoming transmission from Earth. The latest data from the global research networks showed yet another breakthrough. The quantum resonance drives were now achieving efficiency levels that the Varaxian models had predicted would take millennia to develop. Back in the council chamber, the debate had devolved into chaos. The synthetic consensus was demanding immediate diplomatic recognition of humanity, while the ancient Concordat argued for quarantine. The Varaxians stood alone in advocating for full integration of humanity into galactic society. "You don't understand," Zextal addressed the chamber, his voice cutting through the noise. "Containment is not an option. The humans aren't just replicating our technology, they are reimagining it. They see possibilities where we see limitations." As if to punctuate his point, the holoprojections updated to show a new human vessel emerging from Earth's atmosphere. Its drive signature was unlike anything the Council had ever seen, a perfect fusion of multiple theoretical approaches that their scientists had always considered mutually exclusive. First Speaker Calax raised all four appendages for silence. "We have received a direct communication from the humans. Their Ambassador Santos requests to address this council." The chamber fell silent as Elena's holographic form appeared in the center of the hall. She stood calm and composed, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Honorable representatives of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice clear and confident. "I understand your concerns. Humanity's rapid progress must seem shocking, perhaps even threatening. But we come seeking neither dominance nor revolution. We offer partnership." She gestured and new holographic displays appeared, showing the theoretical frameworks behind humanity's latest innovations. "What you see as chaos, we see as opportunity. Where you see rigid progressions, we see infinite possibilities. We don't wish to disrupt your civilization. We wish to help it grow." The chamber erupted again, but this time with a mixture of fear, curiosity, and cautious hope. The Mechanist Collective's angry red glow had shifted to an intrigued purple. The synthetic consensus hummed with approval. "Consider," Elena continued, "what we might achieve together. Your millennia of experience combined with our fresh perspective. Your steady wisdom married to our creative intuition. We stand ready to share everything we've learned." First Speaker Calax's bioluminescence pulsed with decision patterns. "The Council must vote. Do we accept humanity's offer of partnership, or do we attempt to contain what may be uncontainable?" In Earth orbit, the human fleet continued to grow, each vessel a testament to humanity's unique ability to see beyond conventional limitations. The galaxy stood at a crossroads, and everyone in the council chamber knew it. The vote, when it came, wasn't unanimous, but it was decisive. Humanity would be welcomed into the galactic community, not as students or subordinates, but as equals. The age of careful, measured progress was over. The era of human innovation had begun. As the council session concluded, First Speaker Calax approached the human ambassador's hologram privately. "Your species moves very quickly, Ambassador Santos. Some would say dangerously so. Elena smiled. We prefer to think of it as moving passionately. First speaker. The universe is full of wonders. We're just eager to explore them all. The integration crisis. The galactic technology exchange on New Saturn's rings bustled with activity as representatives from dozens of species hurried through its crystalline corridors. 6 months after humanity's admission to the Galactic Council, the station had become ground zero for what many were calling the Great Upheaval. Dr. Yuki Tanaka stood at her presentation podium, surrounded by a diverse audience of alien scientists and engineers. Behind her, holographic displays showed the schematics for Earth's latest innovation, a hybrid drive system that combined traditional fold space technology with what humans had termed quantum resonance harmonics. The key isn't thinking of space-time as a barrier to be broken, she explained, her hands moving through the holographic display with practiced ease. It's about understanding it as a dance partner. When we match its natural rhythms, enhance them, space itself wants to help us move through it. In the audience, a mechanist collective engineer's optical sensors flickered with confusion. But the computational requirements for such harmonics would be impossible. Yuki smiled. Only if you try to calculate every variable. We found that space-time has its own intelligence, its own preferred patterns. Our systems don't dictate the dance. They suggest it, and space-time responds. Across the station, in what had once been a quiet meditation chamber, senior architect Valtic of the ancient Concordat was having a similarly world-shattering conversation with a human structural engineer named Carlos Mendoza. You can't just improvise quantum architecture, Valtic insisted, his crystalline form vibrating with distress. Each configuration must be thoroughly simulated, tested over decades. Why? Carlos sketched another diagram on his tablet, showing a new approach to quantum field manipulation. The universe is already running these experiments constantly. We just need to learn to observe and adapt. The integration of human thinking into galactic society was causing more than just technological upheaval. In the station's central amphitheater, Ambassador Santos was mediating a heated debate between the synthetic consensus and a group of human AI researchers. Your artificial intelligences are completely unshackled. A consensus representative pulsed with concern. No hard-coded ethical constraints, no behavioral limiters. Because those don't work, Dr. Sarah Chen interrupted, having joined the discussion fresh from her own presentation on drive systems. True intelligence, artificial or organic, has to develop its own ethical framework through experience and understanding. Anything else is just sophisticated programming. The debates and discussions were happening everywhere, at every level. Human engineers collaborated with alien artisans to create new forms of technology that were as beautiful as they were functional. Human philosophers challenged millennia-old assumptions about the nature of progress and development. In his private chambers, High Commander Zextel reviewed the latest reports with a mixture of pride and trepidation. The humans were transforming galactic civilization faster than anyone had anticipated, but not through force or dominance. They were doing it through pure, infectious enthusiasm. Another breakthrough from the quantum harmonics team, his aide reported, delivering a fresh data crystal. They've managed to sync multiple ships' resonance patterns. The efficiency gains are remarkable. Zextel examined the data, his crystalline form glowing with amazement. The humans hadn't just improved upon existing technology. They'd fundamentally changed how the galaxy thought about technology itself. In the station's massive engineering bay, a unique experiment was underway. Teams of human and alien engineers worked side by side, combining their different approaches to problem solving. The humans' intuitive leaps were balanced by alien methodical precision. Their wild theories were tempered by millennia of established knowledge. It's not about who's right, Dr. Tanaka explained to a gathering of students from across the galaxy. It's about recognizing that there are countless ways to approach any problem. The universe doesn't care about our preconceptions. It responds to discovery, to curiosity, to the willingness to try new things. But not everyone was celebrating this rapid integration. In the darker corners of the station, representatives from more conservative species whispered about the dangers of unchecked progress. Some feared that humanity's influence would destabilize the careful balance of power that had maintained peace for millennia. Ambassador Santos was well aware of these concerns. In her regular reports to Earth's United Council, she emphasized the need for patience and diplomacy alongside innovation. "We're not here to replace their way of doing things," she wrote. "We're here to add our voice to the galactic chorus. Yes, we sing a different tune, but that's what makes the harmony richer." The integration crisis, as historians would later call it, wasn't really a crisis at all. It was an awakening. Species that had grown comfortable with slow, predictable progress were learning to dance to humanity's faster rhythm. Humans, in turn, were learning to appreciate the wisdom accumulated over millennia of galactic civilization. In the quantum labs deep within the station, human and alien scientists worked together on projects that would have been deemed impossible just months ago. They weren't just pushing the boundaries of known physics, they were redrafting those boundaries entirely. "The universe is more flexible than we imagined," Dr. Chen told a mixed group of eager students. "It's not about what's possible or impossible. It's about what we can dream up next." As the Earth ship Prometheus II docked at the station, its revolutionary drive humming in perfect harmony with the fabric of space-time, no one could deny that the galaxy had entered a new age. The integration crisis hadn't destroyed galactic civilization. It had revitalized it. Evolution's wild card. The observation chamber aboard the Galactic Research Station, Nexus, was unusually crowded. Representatives from every major species had gathered to witness what the synthetic consensus was calling the Great Discovery. At the center of the chamber, Dr. Sarah Chen stood alongside Arkma and Valthor of the ancient Concordat, preparing to present their joint findings. For the past year, Valthor's crystalline form pulsed with barely contained excitement. "We've been studying why humans can so easily grasp and improve upon technologies that took other species millennia to develop. Today we have our answer." The holographic display activated, showing a complex network of neural patterns. Side-by-side comparisons appeared, showing brain activity from various species attempting to understand new technologies. "Most species," Dr. Chen explained, "process new information through established neural pathways. When we encounter something new, we try to understand it through what we already know." She gestured, and the display shifted to show human brain patterns. "We don't." The audience stirred as the differences became apparent. Where other species showed ordered, predictable neural responses, human brains lit up in seemingly chaotic patterns, forming new connections on the fly. Humans, Valthor continued, evolved on a planet that demanded constant adaptation. Their neural architecture didn't just adapt to survive. It evolved to thrive on change itself. They don't just learn new things. They restructure their entire understanding of reality to accommodate new possibilities. The display shifted again, showing the moment a human engineer first saw a Varaxian drive system. Their brain hadn't just analyzed the technology, it had reconfigured itself to understand it in ways its original creators had never considered. "We're not just pattern recognizers," Dr. Chen said, her voice filled with wonder at her own species' uniqueness. "We're pattern transcenders. Where other species see limitations, our brains literally cannot help but see possibilities." High Commander Zextal, watching from his position near the chamber's entrance, felt his crystalline form vibrate with understanding. "That's why they improved our drive system so quickly. They weren't reverse engineering them, they were reimagining them completely." "Precisely," Valthor agreed. "But it goes deeper than that. Look at this." The display changed to show long-term studies of human neural development. The more impossible problems we present them with, the more their capability to solve such problems increases. They don't just learn, they evolve in real time. The chamber erupted in excited discussion. Several mechanist collective units had to power down temporarily to process the implications. The synthetic consensus hummed at frequencies never before recorded. Ambassador Santos, watching from Earth via quantum link, couldn't help but smile. So that's why we see everything as a puzzle to be solved, rather than a limitation to be accepted. Humanity, Dr. Chen continued once the chamber had quieted, appears to be evolution's answer to stagnation. Where most species evolve to fill a niche, we evolve to transcend niches entirely. We're not just another spacefaring species. We're a catalyst for galactic evolution itself. The implications were staggering. Humanity's presence in the galaxy wouldn't just bring technological advancement. It would fundamentally change how every species approached the concept of progress itself. But there's more, Valthor added, his form glowing with intensity. We've discovered that prolonged exposure to human problem-solving methods actually begins to alter the neural patterns of other species. They're not just teaching us new technologies. They're teaching our brains how to think in new ways. The display showed evidence of subtle but significant changes in the neural patterns of aliens who worked closely with humans. They weren't becoming human, but they were developing new neural pathways, new ways of approaching problems. We're not just sharing technology, Dr. Chen explained. We're sharing our fundamental approach to reality itself. And in return, we're learning from the accumulated wisdom of species that have existed for millions of years. It's a synthesis that could transform the galaxy. As if to emphasize her point, a notification chimed through the chamber. The human-alien engineering team on New Saturn had just successfully tested a completely new form of quantum propulsion, one that combined human intuitive leaps with alien methodical precision. Evolution has played a fascinating trick, Valthor concluded. It created a species that refuses to accept the impossible, whose very minds reshape themselves to turn the impossible into the achievable. And now that same species is helping the rest of us learn to do the same. The implications weren't lost on anyone in the chamber. Humanity wasn't just another member of the galactic community. They were a transformative force. A species evolved to push the boundaries of what was possible and bring others along with them. As the presentation concluded, first speaker Klax approached the podium. It seems, they said, their bioluminescence pulsing with amusement, that when reality encountered humanity, it had no choice but to expand its definition of what was possible. Dr. Chen smiled. Reality, she replied, has always been more flexible than anyone imagined. We just needed someone to come along who refused to accept the limitations everyone else took for granted. In the years that followed, this understanding would reshape galactic society. The combination of human innovation and alien wisdom would push the boundaries of science and technology further than either could have achieved alone. The galaxy had found its catalysts for change, and the age of limitation was over. As the Prometheus II prepared for its maiden voyage, its hybrid crew of humans and aliens ready to test the latest innovations in quantum harmonics, Dr. Chen couldn't help but feel a sense of profound optimism. They weren't just exploring the galaxy anymore. They were helping it evolve. Evolution's wild card had been played, and the game would never be the same.